Yeah, great question today concerning one of the tools on our website, the Circles of Relationships. So, the Circles of Relationships was developed by a mentor of mine, Brian Frizzell, many years ago. And it is one of the tools that we use consistently with our clients in both individual sessions and in group sessions. The Circles of Relationships, if you could picture a bullseye, a target, and in the middle of that bullseye, that middle circle is what we call the number one circle. And the number one circle is where we want to put most of our energy, time, and resources, and that is us. So remember, life change comes from changing what's inside of us, not changing what's around us. Like, we have no power truly to control what's around us. The only things that we can control is ourselves in the right now, in the present moment. So with the Circles of Relationships, we look at teaching ourselves to turn internally. And that number one circle is ourselves, and it's our alignment to God or the universe, whatever your belief is. It is this centering and coming internal. So that is the bullseye. The next ring out is that number two circle, the number two ring, and that's what we call the intimate relationships. That is a relationship in our life that where we can be the most vulnerable with any of our stuff and share everything in our lives and everything that's going on, and we're having intimate relations with them. So the number three circle, as we go out, is what we call the select few. That is where we can get vulnerable with the closest people in our lives and share with them the deepest, darkest stuff, but we're not having sex. We're not having the intimate relationship. So the difference between the two and the three is that intimacy. But that number three circle, for guys, we may have a handful of people in our entire lives that would really be considered that number three. And those are the relationships and the connections that we encourage guys to make, to go out and connect with other guys and find those relationships, develop them, cultivate them, so that we can connect and be vulnerable and have a safe place and safe people that we can be vulnerable with. And then as we got to number four, relationships, those relationships are kind of go into, say, those are acquaintances in our lives, people that we meet and maybe are close to, family members and that kind of stuff, but they're not quite as close to us where we can share everything as that number three and number two circles. We go out to number five, the five ring. That's kind of in the urgent and mandatory type relationships. So the easiest way to remember that is stuff like work. So the relationships we have at work, our relationship with work, that's in that five circle. As we go out to six, the easiest way I tell people to remember is think about six is charities. You can give and you can give into your energy, time, and resources, money, energy, the things that you have, your time. You can give into those charitable sections, that charitable ring, that number six circle. You can give into that, but it should be giving from your overflow. So that shouldn't be taking out of your internal circles. And as you will see, when you look at a bullseye, think about most of your energy goes into that number one circle, and then from there it flows out to the number two. So when we focus on the number one, and we build it up and we cultivate that number one circle, cultivate ourselves, then we learn to live out of that. Then that love and that goodness and that's inside of us flows out into the surrounding relationships, the surrounding circles in our lives. So from number six, then we go out to number seven stuff, which would be temporal things, materialistic things. So so often we're with guys where we put most of our energy is in that five circle and work, and then we're working toward getting the temporal things, the materialistic things. So we're spending a lot of energy, time, and resources committed to that number seven circle. And so the practice that we do is we start to work on generating ways for guys to find who they are, to turn internal, to find themselves, find out what they want, and spend some time with themselves. Because most of us are really good guys. Most of us are good people, and we're wanting something different, and we've not been taught that it's okay for us to spend time working on ourselves. It's not weakness. It's not weakness. It is an amazing change in life when we start to like ourselves and, oh no, maybe even love ourselves. And when we can get to the point where we love ourselves, then we have the ability to go out and love other people. Because we work from building that number one circle, and then that overflows into the relationships in the rest of our lives. That's the circles of relationships in a nutshell. And you can check it out on our website, authenticlifenow.com. Go to the resources page, and you can link right to it there and find it for yourself. So it's an amazing tool. It can be pretty life-changing. So thanks for joining.